You are looking at Petco Field in Mishawaka, where tonight a pair of perennial Northern Lakes Conference powers get together. The Northridge Raiders come a-calling on the Mishawaka Cavemen on this edition of the 46th Game of the Week. And how you doing, everybody? With the Hall of Famer and former Pirates minor leaguer Bo Hunt, it's Chuck Freeby. Great to have you with us for another week of high school sports on TV 46. We mentioned Northridge, a perennial power. They have won the Northern Lakes Conference as much as anybody in softball history. Having a down year this year, but they can still swing it.
Yeah, when you look at Coach Capel's teams, one of the things they do this year is they hit the ball well. They have a lot of home runs as well. They have a few girls in lineups that can hit it at any time. They relied on some pitching in the past, but this year they have to rely on that hitting because the pitching just quite ain't there yet.
Mishawaka did not need name tags when they got together for the 2023 season. Everybody came back from last year's team, and the experience is showing for Brian Miller's squad. They've won 6 in a row.
Yeah, when you look at Coach Miller's squad, these Lady Cavemen, they know how to win ball games. They go out there, they pitch, they play defense, they hit and run, they bunt. They know how to do all aspects of the game, and they do it together as a team.
Angelo DiCarlo joins us on the sidelines tonight. And Angelo, we almost didn't get this game in tonight. It really took a yeoman effort from everybody here in the Princess City to make sure softball was played this evening.
And no question about that, Chuck. When you're involved with high school baseball or softball, you're not just a player, coach, or even a parent. You're a member of the grounds crew, and that's what it took. But this field conditions right now, looking pretty good, I got to be honest. It's been raining after they took the tarp off, but it took everybody. You're talking about everybody from parents, volunteers, the athletic director, Dean Hubbard. You also had all the players and the coaches from Mishawaka coming together to get this field ready to go. They wanted to play on the 46th Game of the Week. They're doing everything they possibly could to make tonight happen.
And it didn't hurt to have some Mishawaka-made equipment.
Yeah, ABI Force was out there making that, what Dean Hubbard was on out there going around, and it's made here in Mishawaka.
So it should be a fun one tonight as Northridge takes on Mishawaka. We've got our key players and keys to win, and it all comes your way next on the 46th Game of the Week.
This is the WHME TV 46 High School Game of the Week, brought to you by HealthLink, Precision Door, Hometown Pharmacy, Ivy Tech South Bend Elkhart, Health Markets Tony Letcher, Martin Supermarkets, Purdue Northwest College of Nursing, Bill's Heating, City of South Bend Golf, Reliance, Basney Honda, Warren Golf Course, Crown Trophy, and the IHSAA.
And this edition of the 46th Game of the Week being brought to you in part by HealthLink, your community health center. Back at Petco Field at Baker Park as we welcome you inside the Martin Supermarket broadcast booth, high above and dry above the fray tonight, which are two key words as we get you ready for this one between Northridge and Mishawaka on the softball diamond with our key players and keys to win. When you take a look at this Northridge squad, we mentioned they can swing the bats. Very few people do it better than Tavia Bratt. Bratt, the catcher for this Northridge team, is a senior, batting .487 on the season. She's got some pop in that bat as well. She is tied for the team lead in extra base hits with 9. But the team leader in terms of home runs and RBI is Grace Urbanski. The center fielder is a senior, batting .475. She's tied for the conference lead with 5 homers, and she has 15 runs batted in. The keys to win for the veteran Ray Capels and the Raiders.
The keys to win tonight for Northridge, they need to start quickly on offense. They need to put up some runs early. Pitching-wise, they have to throw strikes. They have too many walks on the year. They need to get ahead in counts early and throw strikes and make plays defensively. They can't have unforced errors and get people on base, allow people on base with those walks as well. Here's Coach Capels on what he thinks of a big win tonight would be.
Tonight would be huge. Obviously, we come in against an undefeated conference rival. Had a lot of fun games so far since Mishawaka's come into the conference. We've battled back and forth over the years, so a big win tonight would be huge for our girls, and probably a good momentum swing as we look to rotate and go into the second half of our conference schedule.
But they will have to swing the bats tonight against a young lady who's not only a very effective hitter, but perhaps the best pitcher in the Northern Lakes Conference this year, and that's Michaela Banks. The Mishawaka hurler, 5-2 on the year, the ERA under 2.5, And look at that strikeout to walk ratio that she's put together this season. That's impressive. So too is the hitting of Taylor Kincaid. The senior first baseman is on fire. She went 4 for 4 the other night in the win over Northwood, and on the year, Kincaid, who's also a terrific hockey player, in fact, going to play college hockey, but she's batting .464 for the season. The keys to win for Brian Miller and the Cavemen.
The keys to win tonight for the Cavemen, they need to get their ducks in order. Ducks in order, what does that mean? Well, quality at bats. And, well, when you look at quality at bats, you look at that quab. You know, they want to get that duck sticker. Well, when you think of Mishawaka, LOD, lights out D. They need to have that lights out defense for that win tonight, and they play with that killer instinct. They need to go out here knowing that the conference championship outright is on the line tonight. Here's Brian Miller on his thoughts on a victory today.
You can take no one for granted, and last I checked, they are still the defending champions. The NLC championship, before we joined the conference, has gone through Northridge and through Middlebury. Ray does a great job, and obviously they're missing an ace pitcher they had, and when they figure out the defensive side of it, because they hit the ball, and we're going to have to be on our best tonight to beat them. Right now, while we're in the driver's seat in the conference, one game can change that, so we have to be on our best today.
Tight games have been the rule when these two teams get together. We are hoping there's no exception tonight. It's Northridge and Mishawaka, and we've got the starting lineups and first pitch of tonight's game. After this, you're watching the 46 Game of the Week. This edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you by Precision Door. When you call, rest assured a talented professional will arrive at your door. Speaking of talented professionals, it's time now for the batting order for the Northridge Raiders, brought to you by Aaron Isley. Here's Bo Hunt.
Well, when you look at the Northridge Raiders, their batter order really at the top of the order with Humbarger, Goodwin, Urbanski, Bratt. You know, Urbanski with 5 home runs, .475 average, Bratt 487. Humbarger leadoff, averaging .525 on the season. Just superb hitting for this team at the top of the order.
They'll have to face a tough right-hander tonight, though, by the name of Michaela Banks. And as you take a look at the numbers on Banks this year, she has been impressive. 5-2 with a 2.48 ERA. She has tossed 48 innings and allowed that many hits. But the strikeout to walk ratio is what stands out. 40 strikeouts and 7 walks. The weather, believe it or not, for the time being, it has stopped raining. 54 degrees. The wind, a gentle zephyr out of the north at 12. It's a 50-50 shot as to whether it's going to rain or not. And you don't have to be a meteorologist to figure that one out. The series history between these two teams, Bo, it's been tight since Mishawaka has joined the NLC. In fact, it's tied at 2. They've split the last 2 years. But as Brian Miller mentioned in the pregame, the road to the NLC championship has almost always gone through Middlebury.
Yeah, when you look at this Northridge team, I mean, it just has always gone through them for this championship.
Umpires tonight for tonight's game, Dennis Kaiser working the bases, and the veteran Woody Collar is behind the plate calling the balls and strikes. And thanks to, as Anj mentioned, a total team effort by the staff and players and coaches here at Mishawaka, we have a playable field, and we are ready to go for Northern Lakes Conference Softball on TV 46. As you take a look at Rachel Humbarger stepping into the batter's box. Humbarger, the freshman second baseman, batting .525 on the year. 1 homer and 12 runs batted in. And our first inning tonight brought to us by our friends at Southwind Flooring. Mishawaka in the white, Northridge in the green. Banks gets the go-ahead, and the first pitch of tonight's game is on its way. Humbarger takes high for a ball. Humbarger, somebody Ray Caples calls a special talent, and they're very excited about her future in this program.
Yeah, just a freshman hitting over 500 on the year. She's come in and she's done quality work in that leadoff hole.
She turns on a ground ball here and hits it to the shortstop Handback, who throws to first for the out. So the defense for Mishawaka, which has been very solid for Brian Miller's team most of the season. Bryn Lewinsky out in left. Handley's got a very good arm in center, and Mia Mason in right. Leah Dawson, top flight player at third base. Handback, good defensive shortstop. Boltink and Kincaid. Banks and Camacho are the battery. As Rylan Goodwin steps in now, and Goodwin lines one towards right field. Mason short hops it, will try to throw to first, and it gets away. It'll be a base hit for Rylan Goodwin, who came in batting .333.
Next up for the Raiders,
Goodwin attacking that first pitch and going right at it. A little behind on it, but great job of really coming through with the barrel, knocking it to opposite field. You can see here just a little late, but drove through that outside pitch. Got to hustle down that line. She almost got through out at first base.
E.B. Ford sponsoring the instant replay tonight as Tavia Bratt gets ready to step in. Bratt, the catcher on this Northridge team and one of their better hitters at .487 on the season with a homer and 12 knocked in. You'll meet her between the 4th and 5th inning when we show you our Tony Letcher Health Market Student Athletes of the Week. And she's a very interesting young lady. The pitch from Banks, line towards right again, and Mason will catch it down the line. It's another base hit. This is Goodwin going to third, and the runners are on the corners for Northridge in the first.
We just talked about Northridge, how their bats are able to spur this team on and how they need to get out to a quick start. This is just the start they need right here, but they have to get a couple runs on the board.
Bratt does a good job with that upper pitch of just taking it where she can instead of trying to pull it. And now you've got your big power hitter at the plate here in Grace Urbanski, the senior batting .475, 5 homers, 15 knocked in. She shows butt, pulls it back. The runner Bratt goes into second, and she is out. Gianna Camacho has a gun behind the plate. Now the run scores from third on the double steal, so Northridge grabs a 1-0 lead. But the bases are empty now for Urbanski.
Just a great job on the double steal there by both teams, able to get the out. Northridge, of course, they're going to take that out for that run here early in the game because they want to get that first run on the board.
Urbanski fouls that pitch straight back, and the count evens at 1-1. A ball and a strike on Grace Urbanski, the center fielder, only one of 2 returning players on this Northridge team with experience. She rips this one foul towards the baseball diamond, and the count goes to 1-2.
Banks a fastball changeup pitcher. Hung a changeup there that Urbanski turned on just a little bit. Almost hit to the baseball field.
Urbanski knocked in the game winner Monday night for Northridge in their victory over Wawasee. Banks ready for the 1-2. It's high and away, 2-2. Urbanski, an outstanding student, 4.52 GPA. A lot of the credit to that has to go to her mother, who's a teacher. The 2-2. Fouled straight back. She had it lined up but couldn't square it. And Urbanski comes from a softball playing family. Her mom, 2 of her aunts played softball at LaSalle for Woody Woodruff. She is the niece of Clay softball coach Katie Rodriguez. The 2-2 misses inside. Half the cavemen were coming off the field, but Gianna Camacho turns around and asks Woody Collar where it was.
Yeah, that one looked like it might have crossed a few people up.
Count goes full at 3-2. The payoff from Banks. Misses high, ball 4, and Urbanski draws a 2-out walk.
Now up for the Raiders, pitcher number 18, Addie Nicely.
That'll bring up the pitcher, Addie Nicely. Nicely batting .321 on the season. No homers and 6 runs batted in for the sophomore. Another good student on this Northridge team with a 3.9 GPA. There's a strike on the outside corner, and it's 0-1. Outfield playing Nicely straight away in left and center. Mason a little bit more towards the line and right. And the pitch was outside. Camacho throws to first. The ball gets away from Kincaid, and Urbanski will hustle down to second base. And that's the risk you take sometimes when you throw it. Kincaid says, that's my bad, and I think she's right.
Yeah, I thought that Camacho made a great throw down there. Nice little snap throw to first. Caught Urbanski out of position. Here you can see a great E.B. Ford replay of it. The ball got there well before Kincaid wasn't able to hold on to it.
Count 1-1 on Nicely, and a runner in scoring position with Urbanski at second. High and away, it's 2-1, and Banks having to do a little bit of work here in the first.
A couple calls didn't go her way against Urbanski, and now she's struggling to find that zone a little bit here against Nisley.
Brian Miller would be thrilled if he can get out of this first inning with just one run coming in. 2-1 pitch. That's upstairs as well, 3-1. And the control, which has been so much a part of Banks' game this season, a little bit off tonight.
Yeah, only her 8th walk this season compared to over almost 50 strikeouts, and now looking at possibly back-to-back walks on the night.
3-1 tap foul, and the count goes full at 3-2. Felice Blasco waits on deck for the Raiders. Michaela Banks, basically a 2-pitch pitcher. She'll throw a fastball. Sometimes it has a little movement on it. Might look a little bit like a rise. But she's really developed the changeup this year, and you wonder if she might go to it here. Here comes the payoff from Banks. Outside corner called strike 3. It's sponsored by Reliance as Banks gets out of the inning, but a run on 2 hits, an error, and 1 left. Bottom of the first coming up. Northridge leads at 1-0 on 46. This edition of the 46 Game of the Week brought to you in part by Hometown Pharmacy right here in Mishawaka. Freedom to make life better. And speaking of Mishawaka, Bo's got the Caveman starting lineup.
Starting lineup tonight for the Cavemen, and they get ready to come to bat here in the bottom of the first inning. Leading off, that Lily St. Clair averaging .519 on the season. Jaden Hanley batting in the 2 spot. Camacho catching in the 4 spot. Don't forget about Dawson, that senior, though, in that 3 spot. And Kincaid, the big first baseman, senior averaging .464, and she's committed to play hockey at Adrian College this year.
And Banks not bad in that 8th spot either. As you take a look at the pitcher they'll face tonight, Addie Nisley, 2-9 on the year with a 10.29 ERA. The sophomore doesn't have a whole lot of giddy up on those pitches quite yet. She'll get there in time. But the walks are the one thing that she'd really like to drop down. Not as worried about the strikeout count as she is giving up the free bases.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things. As a coach, too, you just got to throw strikes. You got to use your defense behind you. You can't be afraid of that long ball. Use your defense, throw strikes, get ahead early in the count.
And speaking of the Northridge defense, this is an area that Ray Caples says we've struggled in this year. He needs them to play cleanly tonight. So Branham, Urbanski, and Zurich in left, center, and right. Widener, Goodwin, Humberger, and Blasco, the infield third to first. Very good catcher, and Tavia Bratt behind the plate for the young sophomore, Addie Nisley. Raiders come out on the field with a 1-0 lead. Katie Booker taking her spot down in the first base coach's box as Lily St. Clair steps into the batter's box. St. Clair, the sophomore, as Bo mentioned, batting .519. No homers and 5 driven in. Takes down low. And St. Clair really brings some speed to the top of Brian Miller's lineup. So let's see if she might try to lay one down here. The 1-0 taken high. It's 2-0. Lily, just a talented athlete. She was all Northern Lakes Conference last year as a freshman. She pops one in the air, short left field, and it'll be caught out there by Branham for the out. There's one away.
Now up for Lady Caveman, center fielder number 4.
Here's Jaden Handley, the center fielder. Handley batting .259, no homers, 5 driven in. And you'll get to meet Jaden coming up later in the contest. She is our Mishawaka Tony Letcher Health Market Student Athlete of the Week. She'll play basketball for the Holy Cross Saints next year. First pitch bounces in, and it's 1-0. Outfield playing Handley deep in left and center. Zerk's back quite a bit in right field, too. Here comes the 1-0. That's on the outside corner for a strike, and it's 1-1.
That's where Nisley's got to live, is on that outside corner. She can't be piping those fastballs down the middle with their speed, not quite where it needs to be at this point in her career.
You might think that as well as Mishawaka has been hitting the ball, foul ball here, 1 and 2, that some off-speed stuff might work well for her tonight.
Yeah, a lot of times, I mean, when you have used to seeing pitcher with speed throughout the weeks, and you bring somebody that is able to, the thing is, she has to be able to throw strikes, though, with this off-speed stuff.
She got one in there on the hands, and it's fouled away. It's still 1 and 2.
Get those batters out on their front foot so they reaching for stuff, and that's when you get the rollovers, the little pop-ups, and you can get out of innings pretty quickly when you're throwing strikes like that as well.
But again, it's all about hitting the spots, and Ray Capel says that hasn't always worked well for us this year. There are times where his pitchers get in a groove, and there are times when they're not.
And when they do get in the groove, you got to play defense behind them like that as well.
The third baseman Widener hugging the line for Handley. The 1-2. Popped in the air, foul. Brad off with the mask, couldn't come up with it. Good effort by Tavia Bratt as she tries to haul in this foul pop, and you'll get another look at it from E.B. Ford.
It's a great hustle by Bratt. That's just a tough play for a catcher to come get.
And made all the tougher when you have to take the mask off, which you have to if you're going to make that play.
Not only that, but trying to get out of the crouch position and then start running at the same time.
Well, for some of us, getting out of the crouch position takes a lot longer than that foul ball. Line drive, left center base hit. Handley gets the first base knock of the game for Mishawaka.
Great at bat by Handley. Fouled off 4 straight and then drove that one into left center. Just a great job, great piece of hitting.
And the pitch was up a little bit where she could handle it.
Yeah.
So that brings up Leah Dawson. Dawson batting .363, 2 homers to lead the team and 12 knocked in. She's homered in 2 of the last 3 games. She pops one in the air, foul down the right side, long run, and it'll drop harmlessly for a strike. You talk about the tough play we saw a moment ago for a catcher. That's an even tougher play for a first baseman, Blaska.
Trying to run back towards the fence and trying to catch it over your shoulder like a wide receiver catching a pass over their shoulder is one of the toughest things in baseball to do.
0-1 the count. Ball low. Handley thought about trying to run, but Bratt has a very good arm behind the plate. A ball and a strike. Handley and the first base coach, Katie Booker, looking over at Brian Miller in that third base coach's box. And there goes Handley and a line drive, base hit. This will go all the way to the wall. Dawson headed to second. Handley gets the go-ahead. The relay to the plate will not be made. We're tied at 1. An RBI double for Leah Dawson, her 13th knocked into the air, and you get another look courtesy of E.B. Ford.
Wow, she sat back and she drove that thing. Right field or left fielder only took 2 steps, and that was already by her. Just a great job by Dawson sitting back and driving that pitch.
And Brian Miller never hesitated to send Handley all the way around. So here's Gianna Camacho, the catcher. Camacho has struggled at the plate this year, .211 average, no homers and 7 driven in. And she lines one into right center field, base hit. That'll score a run. Camacho heads for second, back-to-back doubles, 2-1 Mishawaka.
After the double by Camacho,
Here's another look from E.B. Ford. And again, keeping the bat back and driving the pitch where it is.
Yeah, I think they're just doing a great job of just sitting back and driving the pitch exactly where she's throwing it.
And now the one batter you don't want to face right now if you're Northridge, and that's Taylor Kincaid, as a courtesy runner comes in for Camacho out at second base.
Big thank you to Aaron Nisley at EB Ford. Want to give a shout out to Addison and all the Lady Raiders. When you're ready for your next car, truck, or SUV, come see Aaron at EB Ford.
Kincaid batting .464, a homer and 5 knocked in. That homer came against Concord on Monday night. High and away, and the runner goes to third, and Bratt couldn't get her. She's in safely.
Bratt with a good throw down to third. Looked like it beat the runner, but it looked like the third baseman might have fell down and not able to put the tag on. Throws there. Yep. Tag was behind, tagged her back foot.
Ray Cable's going to come out and talk to the base umpire about the call. And in the meantime, that gives his pitcher Nisley a little bit of a time to get a breather.
Better yet, at Ivy Tech, these programs can be free or low cost depending on a student's chosen path. Start exploring Ivy Tech's high school opportunities. Find one that's right for you. Find out more at facebook.com/IvyTechSBE.
So runner at third, only one out. And Kincaid, the right-handed hitting first baseman in the box. With a count of 1-0. Swinging a foul straight back, and it's 1-1. Kincaid, just a terrific athlete. She is the goalie for the South Bend John Adams hockey team. And if you think, oh, well, that's just something nice that they did for the boys team, let a girl play. No, she was the goalie when they beat Penn in overtime this year. Fouled that one straight back, 1-2. She is committed, as Bo mentioned, to play hockey at Adrian College. She'll play on the women's team up there. Just a tremendous athlete. Here's the pitch. That's outside.
Nisley really trying to work that outside corner, trying to get as much paint as possible as she can on that outside corner.
2 balls, 2 strikes, the count on Kincaid. Nisley delivers. Line back from whence it came, and under the glove of the shortstop Goodwin into center field. That'll probably be called a base hit. Goodwin had to cover some ground to get there. And you'll see it again on the E.B. Ford replay.
What I really liked about Kincaid, that at bat, she saw that Nisley was pitching her outside. She actually scooted over in the box closer to the plate on that last pitch than she was before, anticipating an outside pitch.
3-1 Mishawaka, and here's Bryn Lewinsky, the left fielder. Only batting 120, no homers, 2 knocked in. Tried to bunt and fouled it. It's 0-1. Lewinsky, a junior. Brian Miller hoping she can get hot in this middle portion of the season for the Cavemen. But a good response inning for Mishawaka after Northridge grabbed the lead in the top of the first. Corner infielders shading in. Lewinsky takes down low, throw down to first, and just diving back in time is Kincaid. A ball and a strike, the count on Bryn Lewinsky. She had the go-ahead run in their win over Goshen this season. And drives one to left field. Branham is there and makes the 2-hand grab for the out. There's 2 away.
One of the things with Lewinsky right there, she had great contact. She drove the ball. Even though she's struggling at the plate right now, I know Coach Miller has to really like that last at bat.
Here's maybe Mishawaka's most improved player from a year ago, and that's Olivia Boltank. She's batting .280 this season. The junior second baseman, left-handed hitter. That pitch misses outside, and Bratt not shy from getting out behind that plate. Both she and Camacho love to show the arm.
Yeah, I saw her pregame throwing down a little bit. She's definitely got an arm behind the plate.
A ball and no strikes on Boltank. That one's outside as well, and it's on the outside corner. Woody Collar with the delayed strike call.
Thought I heard something down there like a strike.
1-1.
Didn't get that arm up for a little bit there.
Not everybody's got a good shoulder.
That is true.
Popped up on the infield. Third baseman Widener calls and catches, and the inning is over. But the Cavemen get 3 runs on 4 hits and strand 1 after 1, 3-1 Mishawaka. You're watching high school softball on TV 46. And this edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you by Ivy Tech South Bend Elkhart, a cornerstone of education in Indiana. You take a look at your pitcher, Michaela Banks. Had to work through the minefield of the top 5 of that lineup for Northridge in the first inning. Problem the Raiders have, the way their lineup is stacked, you get here to the second inning, maybe it gets a little easier for Banks. We'll see.
Yeah, she had 1 walk, 1 K. That K sponsored by Reliance. I'd like to thank them for sponsoring Mishawaka's strikeouts tonight.
Leading off for the Raiders, first baseman number 17, Felice Blasco.
Here's that's the wrong batter. It's Blasco who's up. Felice Blasco is up to bat. Blasco batting .342, no homers and 6 runs batted in. Had 2 hits in their loss to Concord. And hits one high in the air, deep to right center field. Back goes Mason, it's over her head and to the wall. Blasco heads to second and she'll hold up there with a stand-up double. And extra base hits for Northridge, sponsored by EB4.
Now up for the Raiders, third baseman number 8, Chloe Gaynor.
Watch Blasco drive this one. And Mason just couldn't get back far enough on it. And with those long legs, I think Blasco wanted to think about 3, but was held up.
I love how aggressive Northridge is on those first pitch fastballs. They attack them right away.
Let's see if Adele Zurich does the same right here. The senior batting .222. And she pops one up on the infield. Dawson staggers, can't catch it. And Zurich will be safe at first. Might have wound up being an easier play for the shortstop where that ball wound up.
Yeah, it was an early call by the third baseman, Dawson. But, again, the shortstop has a better with the wind. The way the wind's blowing, it's an easier. Never give up on that play. Somebody calls it, you have the position, which the shortstop has the position. You can take that away from them.
Now Northridge tries to bunt. The bunt hit the batter in the batter's box, so it's a foul ball.
Softball with ladies at first and second, nobody out. It's almost a guarantee bunt situation. They want to move the runners. Here they're going to actually appeal that last bunt to see if it actually hit her as she was leaving the box or if she was in the box.
By the way, this batter now is Adele Zurich, who's at the plate. The previous batter was Chloe Widener, who was the one that hit the pop-up. The umpires will talk it over just to see if the base umpire, who was peering in from the outside, had a better view of it. He did not. From our replay, Woody made the right call. The ball hit her in the box, and so it's 0-1. Another square to bunt. Zurich pops it over Dawson's head, who makes the snare this time.
Now that was a tougher play than her last one. Just a great job of really getting back on that pop-up because you're not expecting it. Here you can see in the EB Ford replay, she was already past that ball when it was popped up.
The footing maybe not as good as they would like it to be, and Dawson needing a little extra time. She landed perhaps where there was no cushion.
Yeah, she is laughing over there and smiling a little bit, and so is Coach Booker.
So the pop out handled by Dawson. There's one away, runners on first and second, and here's a key hitter in the inning as Mia Branham steps in. Branham, the freshman, batting .125 on the year. The diminutive left fielder waits for Banks. On the outside corner for a strike. It's 0-1. Have noticed Banks fastball has just a little bit of slider look to it.
Got a little bit of a tail right at the last end, so it kind of crosses that outside corner and then kind of tails into the left-hander's box.
Branham steps out, trying to reset herself mentally. And she tried to bunt and she missed. It's 0-2. Rachel Humbarger waits on deck.
Branham tried to catch the defense off guard a little bit. Dawson was playing deep at third, a little bit deeper than she is now.
Here's where you want to see if you can slap one just past the pitcher's ring. The 0-2. Fouled straight back. Good cut that time by Branham. Not a bad crowd considering the weather here at Baker Park. Crowd probably augmented by the fact that there's a baseball game going on the other side of that flagpole between Mishawaka and Northridge for first place in the boys baseball race in the NLC, as that one misses Hyde away, 1-2. This one definitely a battle between the league leader and one of the contenders in the NLC softball race. We'll show you the standings here in a moment. It's kind of wild, the logjam they have in the NLC. Branham drives one to center field. Handley is back there for the grab. Blasco's going to tag up, try to go to third, and she will. Ball gets away. Blasco's going to try to score. Throw to the plate. Camacho's got her dead to rights. Good play by Michaela Banks to back it up, throw out Blasco, and the inning has come to an end. As Mishawaka turns a double play in the field to get out of a jam, Banks guns down a runner at the plate, 3-1 Cavemen after 1.5 on 46. This edition of the 46th Game of the Week being brought to us by Martin Supermarkets. Count on us for all your grocery needs and more. Time for a Bills Heating Sideline Report. Here's Anj.
Coach, your early thoughts on this one?
So far, we've really not been executing defensively. We let a couple balls get through our legs, I got a couple of fly balls that got behind us. Then here we get our first 2 runners on base, and then we can't execute and get them around. So I think we're okay. We're only down 3-1. We just have to shore up some things and get our execution a little bit more on top.
I heard you earlier saying stay in it to your girls. What kind of message is that to them right now?
So the mental game's our big struggle. So trying to keep them to stay in it so that one little mistake doesn't wreck the ship, right? Trying to keep them motivated moving forward so that they can make the next play as opposed to letting the game get away from us here. And we're still early, so trying to keep them ahead of it.
Coach, thank you very much. Best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, guys, back to you.
All right, thanks, Anj. 3-1 in favor of Mishawaka. And the Cavemen will have the bottom part of their batting order coming up here in the second.
I feel Coach Caples on getting the 2 leadoff batters on base and not moving the runners over. That's just so frustrating as a coach.
Michaela Banks ground ball bobbled by Goodwin, and it'll be an error on the shortstop.
Next up for Lady Cavemen, shortstop number 1, Lily.
So Banks is able to reach on an error, and the defensive woes continue for the Raiders here as they've Mishawaka now with a runner on first, and they'll put in a pinch runner for Banks here. A courtesy runner as it is in softball, as Sophia Hoover will come in.
The Hometown Pharmacy in Mishawaka is the best place to go for your pharmaceutical needs. Call to schedule your hormone replacement therapy today. Hometown is proud to support the Mishawaka and Northridge softball teams.
So the courtesy runner so that Banks can be right out of the dugout when the inning ends, as this ball is popped away and out of play by Lily Hamback.
I really like the high school allowing the courtesy runners for the pitcher and the catcher, allowing them to go in, rest their arms, especially in baseball as well. I mean, they got to rest their arms, and catchers specifically because their legs need some rest.
And the gear takes a while to get on.
Yep.
The 0-1 pitch, Hamback lays down a bunt. Nisley throws to first. The sacrifice goes 1-4, and the runner Hoover goes over to second base. She's in scoring position for 1 away. Cavemen flip the order, and Lily St. Clair will come up to bat. Good bunt there by Hamback, seeing her first action back after a finger injury. So you got a finger injury, bunting might not be your favorite thing to do on a day like this.
Yeah, a little cold out there, but if you bunt properly like she did there, she did a great job. She laid the bunt down before she left the box. When you're doing sack bunts, that's exactly what you have to do.
St. Clair takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. Interesting how the Raiders are playing St. Clair, who is over a 500 hitter. They're almost shading her a little bit towards left field as though they think she's going to be late.
Yeah, she first at bat did fly out to left field for her first fly out of the game.
It also might indicate the fact that Nisley is trying to work her away.
Work her away as well.
And the count goes to 1-1. St. Clair waggling that white bat behind her maroon helmet And lines one back through the box for a base hit. And Hoover will stay at third. Urbanski with a good arm out in center field, and Brian Miller didn't want to test it, but you get another look. Rip and rip, that time for Lily St. Clair.
Yeah, that was a nice shot right back up the middle. Nisley had no chance at fielding that ball. Possibly, you know, with the two-hole hitter Hanley, I mean, she is a great hitter, but looking for maybe a steal for second, looking for that double steal, see how Northridge plays it defensively as well.
Handley had a line single to left her first time up. Caveman already with a 3-1 lead. Way outside with that pitch. And it's 1-0. St. Clair with good speed over at first base. I get the feeling Bratt's not going to throw through if she goes, but we'll see. The 1-0. High and away, it's 2-0.
A lot of times you're worried about those runners on base rather than the batter at the plate. Hanley now at a 2-0 count. Saw 6 pitches her first at bat, fouling off 5 of them.
Handley was all Northern Lakes Conference in softball a couple of years ago. As that pitch misses high, and it's 3-0, and the dangerous Leah Dawson stands on deck. Addie Nisley in a jam here in the second, and walked her on 4 pitches. The bases are loaded with 1 away.
Now up for the Lady Caveman, third baseman, number 22, Leah Dawson.
On the one hand, Dawson hits the ball hard, which makes her a double play candidate. On the other hand, Dawson hits the ball hard, and you don't want to see her up with the bases loaded. She had an RBI double her first time up. And that pitch is high as well, 1-0.
Good patience by Dawson there. That pitch was borderline swinging right there. She laid off of it, knew that was the smart thing to do.
Nisley's pitch drilled at the shortstop. Goodwin drops it. Now she can make a force out at third, but they throw it away. And everybody's safe. It's 4-1 Mishawaka.
Wow, that's one of those plays. The line drive happens. Don't catch it right away. Then you're thinking go to second. Actually, the smartest play would have been to go home, but didn't realize the runner was not going. And then just one of those things that happens.
So a fielder's choice for Dawson, an error on the third baseman Widener. Second error of the inning for the Raiders. And here's Gianna Camacho, who also had an RBI double her last time up, and takes a strike on the outside corner, 0-1. The outfield playing relatively deep for Camacho. Humbarger, the second baseman, in. Line down the right field line. It is slicing foul and out of play. It's 0-2. So you're nicely in this situation. You've got an 0-2 count here. How do you work on Camacho?
Well, you definitely have to stay away. I mean, she's a threat. Of course, the last time she was at bat, she did drive it to right center as well. But you got to be able to keep it away, keep it out, especially 0-2. Keep in that other batter's box. Don't even hit that corner. Make her chase something.
See if she'll get anxious.
Yep.
No balls, 2 strikes on the Mishawaka backstop. She did go outside corner with called strike 3. And Camacho goes down looking for the second out of the inning. Boy, that's a huge pitch for Addie Nisley. You'll get another look at it here on the E.B. Ford replay. She hit the target. The target was off the plate, but...
Yep, she hit the target, though.
Collar has been consistent in giving that pitch to pitchers all night. Now Kincaid with a little tap to first, and Northridge gets out of it. What a great job on the circle by Addie Nisley to get out of a jam. Mishawaka still scores 1. They lead it 4-1 after 2 on 46. This edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you by the Purdue University Northwest College of Nursing. Kickstart your career with a nursing degree. This is a big game in the Northern Lakes Conference. Mishawaka comes in unblemished in NLC play. Goshen is 2 off the pace, and everybody else somehow is 2 and 3 in the league. That's a log jam.
That is a log jam for sure. That just shows the balance that they have here in the NLC conference. Just a great job of really kids coming together and playing competitive softball, not only in their high school, but during the summer as well. There's a lot of good teams out there.
Reminder, we've got pro soccer on TV 46 on Saturday night when the Pittsburgh Riverhounds go into the Circle City to take on the Indy 11. Our buddy Greg Rakestraw with the call for you on the Indy 11 network. We'll have it for you live Saturday night at 7 on your home for more sports more often, TV 46.
Big shout out to Martin Supermarkets, groceries to go, annual subscriptions. They are now available. They're just $29.99 for the year. Get ad pricing, digital coupon, recipes directly from your account. Learn more at martinsgroceriestogo.com.
So the top of the order starts things off here in the third for Northridge, and that means Rachel Humbarger, who bounced out to short her first time up. And the freshman lines one down the right field line, a fair ball, and it'll be handled out there by Mason, but Humbarger goes the other way for a leadoff single here in the third.
Now up for the Raiders, shortstop number 1.
You get another look from E.B. Ford. Great piece of hitting there by Humbarger, just a stroke right off the end of the bat. And she's got the kind of speed she could be at third by the end of the at-bat here for Rylan Goodwin. Banks delivers. Goodwin tried to bunt. Camacho's throw sails on her, and it's another stolen base, the 16th of the year for Rachel Humbarger.
Just a great job of the cover up on the bunt as well. Protecting the runner just a little bit. Runner takes off as the pitch is released, as you are allowed to in softball.
Now with a runner at second and Dawson playing in, let's see if Ray Caples tries to steal again with Humbarger. The 0-1 from Banks. Instead, it's driven into left center field, and it gets down all the way to the wall. Rounding first and headed for second is Goodwin. She'll go in with a stand-up double. It's 4-2. The double sponsored by E.B. Ford.
Great job by Goodwin driving that ball. Second hit of the night for Goodwin, 2 for 2. Sat back and drove in that gap.
So again, the first 4 or 5 hitters in this Northridge order can stack up runs in a hurry. And you really have to be cautious with this group. Here's Tavia Bratt. She had a base hit her last time up. And Banks comes inside on Bratt and misses for ball 1. There goes the runner again, and it's another stolen base for Northridge.
That was on the throw back to the pitcher. Just a great job of reading that play, understanding the situation, taking the extra base.
Goodwin now with 11 steals on the year. So Ray Caples has some weapons in this lineup. The offense has not been the problem for Northridge this season. The 1-0. Fouled straight back, it's 1-1. Bratt, all Northern Lakes Conference the last 2 years in softball. She's been all NLC the last 4 years in swimming and a state qualifier for 3 of those seasons. So just a terrific athlete in the program for the Raiders. You see Goodwin at third with nobody out. The 1-1 driven deep to left field. Back goes the left fielder making the catches, Lewinsky, but it's a sacrifice fly for Tavia Bratt in a 4-3 game.
Now for the Raiders, center fielder.
For Bratt, her 13th run batted in this season. That ball looked like it might carry, and it just kind of died out there near the fence. Lewinsky made the two-hand grab, and it was easy pickings for Goodwin from third.
Yeah, Bratt got it deep enough, though, to knock that run in. That was the most important job of getting that third run in for the Raiders.
Now Grace Urbanski with a deep drive center field. It's gone. Home run Urbanski. We're tied at 4. Oh, Grandma Patty Knight having a battle with cancer, but this will put a smile on her face as Urbanski takes the Northern Lakes Conference lead in round trippers with her 6th of the season.
That extra base hit sponsored by E.B. Ford.
And you'll get another look from the E.B. Ford replay. Urbanski got one up and away, and soared it over to the right center field fence, almost all the way to the driveway back there.
6th home run of the year for Urbanski.
So we are all knotted up at 4 apiece. And here's Addie Nisley, the pitcher. A little bit different than the first softball game we did this year where the pitchers dominated.
Yep, that was a pitching duel. This one, we knew that these two teams could hit.
Another line drive, center field, base hit. And the hit parade continues for Northridge here in the top of the 3rd.
Next up for the Raiders, first baseman, number 17, Felice
Here's
Blasco.
Felice Blasco, the first baseman. Blasco doubled her first time up.
E.B. Ford in Goshen is proud to support the Raiders athletics. E.B. Ford has been serving the community for over 100 years. When you're ready to buy or sell, visit ebford.com. It's easy. That's E.B.
We'll see a courtesy runner come in here for Addie Nisley at first base. We'll see if we can pick up who that is. In the meantime, the first pitch to Blasco. This is high. There goes the runner. The throw to second, and she is out. So a good throw guns down Kyla Kaufman at second base, and Camacho throws out her second runner of the night. And actually, I think she slid into the foot of.
It looked like when she was trying to slide, it was wet out there a little bit, slid a little early and kind of got caught up on the slide.
Handback's foot kind of blocked the base away from Kaufman as a baseball comes flying over from the varsity field. Didn't hit anybody, fortunately, and the count's 2-0 on Blasco. Banks trying to finish off the 3rd without further damage. A swing and a foul tip into the mid of Camacho, and it's 2-1. Blasco shows horses in 4-H. And hits a ground ball foul here. Count evens up at 2-2. The top 5 in the Northridge order has done damage here yet again. And nothing comes easy in the Northern Lakes Conference. The 2-2 from Banks, fouled past the on-deck circle. And the count holds at 2-2.
Top 5 for Northridge have only made 2 outs without doing any damage on scoring runs because they had a sac fly with one of those. They had 1 walk. They have 6 hits.
Actually, base running has really cost Northridge in this game. They've had 3 runners thrown out on the bases. Here's a pop-up on the infield. Handback calls for it. The shortstop makes the grab, but the damage is done by Northridge, anchored by a Grace Urbanski home run. 3 runs come into the inning, and after 2.5, knotted up at 4 at Petco Field. This edition of the 46th Game of the Week being brought to you in part by Bill's Heating, keeping families and businesses comfortable since 1951. Brian Miller having a word with his pitcher, Michaela Banks, about how that inning went and what he wants to see differently from her. And right now, this appears to be a one-way conversation.
Yeah, it usually is when you're coming off the field after giving up 3 runs. And Coach kind of wants to talk to you about what you did right and what you did wrong and how to fix it and how to correct it.
Of course, Brian, a longtime broadcaster in the area, worked in LaPorte, then Elkhart, and now calls the Mishawaka football and basketball games locally on radio. And at some point here during the broadcast tonight, we'll hear his answer when I asked him, well, what's easier, coaching or broadcasting? The answer will not surprise you.
No, I've been there, done that, and I feel for Brian just as much as he feels for me.
Here's the first pitch of the inning, bunted foul as Bryn Lewinsky fouls it away. Lewinsky, the left fielder, flew out to her counterpart her first time up. 4-4 game in the bottom of the third. Northridge and Mishawaka have played some dandies over the last 2 years. And Lewinsky takes a strike on the inside corner. It's 0-2. Here's a bat in the Mishawaka order. They really want to get going. She did score the go-ahead run in their win over Goshen. And here she lines one to center field and over the head of Urbanski and off the wall. And Lewinsky cruises into second with an extra base hit.
Second at bat in a row that Lewinsky's actually connected. Her last one, she flew out to left field, but she connected well with it. And there, almost didn't have the luck again, but just got over the center fielder's head just enough.
I think if Urbanski had that ball to play again, 8 times out of 10 she catches it, but she misread that one, and it starts the inning well for Mishawaka. As Olivia Boltink will step in. She popped out to the third baseman her first time up. Boltink takes a strike on the outside corner. It's 0-1. Lewinsky with some decent speed down at second base. We mentioned Boltink, perhaps the most improved player on this Mishawaka team this year. She did a lot of work in the batting cages back in January and February to get her stroke better. Here she bunts, and it's foul off the batter in the batter's box again.
Yeah, it went right off her foot, front foot on that one.
Now, if the batter's outside the box and the ball makes contact, then they're out. But as long as you're still in that batter's box, you're considered in foul territory, even though part of the batter's box is technically in fair territory. And it's 0-2. The 0-2 from Nisley, swinging a pop foul back this way. Had I had my net, maybe I could have gotten that one. It's still 0-2. You see Lewinsky at second. The go-ahead run in scoring position. The 0-2. Grounded to the second baseman, handled by Humbarger. The throw to first gets the out, but a good job by Boltink. She got the runner over to third with less than 2 outs.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to do, is move the runner, especially with less than 2 outs, over to third base. She got the 2 strikes, and then she knew what her job was, move that runner.
Now the pitcher with a chance to help her own cause. Michaela Banks reached on an error and scored back in the second. You see the numbers on Banks this year in terms of average. No homers and a couple driven in. All NLC performer the last 2 seasons. And she grounds one through the hole on the left side into left field. An RBI single for Banks, and it's 5-4 Mishawaka. You'll get another look on the E.B. Ford replay. And Banks, whose average is up about 150 points from last year, continues to swing a good bat. Now Sophia Hoover will come in as the courtesy runner over at first base for Banks. A 5-4 lead for the Lady Cavemen. And here's Lily Hamback, the shortstop. She's a good butter, but she takes outside here. Bratz throw a little bit late. We mentioned Hamback seeing her first action since a finger injury about 2 weeks ago. And with the uncertainty of the weather this weekend, Brian Miller wanted to get her back in the lineup and not have her wait another week before she was playing. Pop fouling off the end of the bat. Count evens at 1-1.
It was nice getting her back in the lineup, I'm sure, for Brian, and laying down that sack bunt. She had the first at-bat of the game today for her.
Hamback with a little bit of varsity experience the last 2 years. 222 hitter on the year. Turns on one. It's stopped by Widener, but everybody will be safe. That's why they call it the hot corner.
Just going to repeat what you just said. The hot corner at third base in softball. That thing gets on you in a hurry.
And Ray Capel's going to go out and have a check on his third baseman, make sure she's okay. And Widener says, I'm fine. Fortunately, I've got the mask and a glove and everything else. But take a look at the E.B. Ford replay, and you'll see this ball was absolutely ripped. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we had it. We don't. Apparently, the ball hit too hard and fast for the camera. So runners at first and second for the top of the order, Lily St. Clair. She takes on the outside corner a strike. It's 0-1. St. Clair is 1 for 2. She has flown to left and singled to right. The 0-1. Popped in the air towards center field. Urbanski comes over, but it drops in no man's land, and everybody's safe.
Wow, that's just a tough play and just tough break for Northridge. Ball hit in the one spot in the outfield where no outfielder or the shortstop getting to see all three of them converging right in the dead center of all three of them.
The left fielder, Branham, was the closest, but not close enough. And the bases are loaded with one out for Jaden Handley, who has walked and singled. Caveman with a chance to crack this one wide open. Knisley worked out of a similar jam in the second, and she gets a weak ground ball to third here. Widener to the plate for one. The relay to first not close, but there's one big out.
Yeah, just a really good job of going 4 on that, knowing the situation, getting the second out of the inning. Now you got to force at any base to get out of this inning.
But now you have Leah Dawson come to the plate, who lined into a fielder's choice back in the second on a ball that got tossed around the infield by the Raider defense. First pitch missed outside for ball 1. Dawson 1 for 2 today. And there'll be a little mound conference about how to handle one of Mishawaka's better hitters.
This game's health tip is brought to you by HealthLink, who reminds you that good vision is key to success on the field and in the classroom. Schedule a yearly exam at HealthLink today. HealthLink offers medical, dental, vision, and more.
So Knisley gets all the advice from her infield as to how they're going to play things. And Dawson steps back in there. Third baseman comes up empty there. It's 1-1. Dawson, a member of the basketball team, committed to play softball at IUSB. Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss, and it's 1-2. Knisley put that one in a great location. One more like that, she may get out of another jam. Dawson's ready, so's the sophomore Knisley. Shakes off the one sign, gets one she likes. Goes outside too far, and it's 2-2. Do you dare try to cross Dawson up and come inside?
I don't think you give her any time of the day on the inside part of that plate.
Here comes the 2-2. Pratt held it there for a long time, but Woody Collar wouldn't pull the trigger, and the count goes full at 3-2.
Looked like she did hit the outside corner, but it was a little high.
So payoff pitch, bases loaded, 2 away. Here it is. Fouled straight back, and we'll do it all over again. A 5-4 Mishawaka lead. But the Cavemen have a power stick at the plate in Leah Dawson. 2 homers on the year. She leads them in RBI. Addie Knisley on the mound trying to wriggle out of a jam. 3-2 pitch. Swinging a ground ball. Goodwin has it. Throws to first. Got her. And the inning comes to an end without further damage. A run is scored. Mishawaka with a 5-4 lead. And we go down for a Bills Heating sideline report. Angelo DiCarlo is with the Mishawaka head coach, Brian Miller.
All right, Coach, 5-4 here after 3. Your thoughts on how this one has played out so far?
First one to 21 wins.
I was ready to say, fill in the blank, first one to what wins. the bats obviously are going. How do you get the fielding and the pitching to match that at this point?
Michaela's obviously not throwing her best right now. They're hitting really, really well. We just got to be a little better with our spots. Defensively, we got to clean up just a few things. Offensively, we're very confident, but we're maybe a little over anxious. We just got to settle in and relax and let the game come to us.
Coach, thank you very much. Best of luck the rest
Thanks
of
for
it.
being here, guys.
5-4 Cavemen after 3 on 46. This edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you by the City of South Bend Golf. 3 great courses, 1 great city. 5-4, Mishawaka leads it as we begin the top of the 4th. Michaela Banks on the mound. And she'll start with Chloe Widener, the third baseman. Widener reached on an error by the third baseman Leah Dawson on a drop pop-up back in the second. Hits a ground ball to Dawson. This time Fields cleanly throws to first. 1 pitch, 1 away.
Those are the type of ways you like to start an inning. After the last inning, you've given up 3 runs. For them to tie it up, come out, throw a first pitch strike, use your defense, get an out.
That'll bring up Adele Zurich, the right fielder. Zurich popped to third her last time up on a play where Dawson came racing in, wound up falling backwards and seemed to hurt herself a little bit. Zurich, right-handed hitter, waits for the righty Banks. And that's a strike on the outside corner, 0-1. Zurich, batting .222 on the year, has played softball since the age of 5. Hits a weak dribbler up the third base side. Dawson smartly lets it roll foul, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, it's one of those plays you're coming in. You know you're not going to be able to throw the runner out, so you're hoping that it goes foul. Let it go foul and touch it once it gets foul territory.
No balls and 2 strikes with 1 away. Bottom third of the order facing Banks here in the 4th. Swing and a miss, strike 3. It's sponsored by Reliance. 2 up, 2 down in the 4th for Northridge. And a reminder, we've got high school baseball next Friday night. A battle for the league lead in the Northern Indiana Conference as Joe Turnock's Marion Knights go on over to Jordan Field and take on Greg Dykus and the defending state champion Penn Kingsman. Will have it Friday night 11, Saturday morning at 9 on your home for high school sports, TV 46.
Both those teams sitting at 6-0 in the conference play.
Mia Branham, the batter, the left fielder fouls it straight back. Looking forward to seeing Adam Lehman on the mound for Penn. Terrific pitcher with an ERA of less than 1.
Lehman with the fastballs upper 80s. Nice slider to go with it, and good changeup as well.
Here's the 0-1 from Banks, and that's right down the middle for a strike, 0-2. And that'll be our first venture of high school baseball in this little spring sports sampler we're bringing you this year.
I heard it's going to be 85 on Sunday.
If only.
Or Monday.
Yeah, well, half of that maybe. Here's a little pop foul on a check swing by Branham, and it's 0-2.
Not here anyways, but
yeah, it might be 85 somewhere.
A little bit
yeah.
farther south, yeah.
Well, we're just glad we're getting this game in today after the weather we had earlier today. And again, a tip of the cap to Dean Huppert and the crew here at Mishawaka. What a job they did prepping this field. As that pitch misses high, 1-2. The players were involved in the tarp pull. And I know, Bo, you've got experience in this from being a baseball coach. It's a full-time job being a high school baseball or softball coach.
I mean, that's one of the things when you talk about coaching baseball or softball. It's not like the football or the basketball, volleyball being inside. You have to take care of the field. You have to do a pregame. You have to do a pre-practice. You have to do it after the game. And it just takes time and time over and over again. It takes a lot of commitment out of not only yourself as the coach, but your assistant coaches, your players, your parents coming out and doing field work. And the administration just did a great job of helping out tonight, too.
A ball and 2 strikes with 2 away to Branham as that pitch just missed foul down the left field line. Here's a ground ball to the shortstop, Handback, who throws to first and gets her 1-2-3. Go the Raiders in the fourth. Halfway home at Petco Field, 5-4 Caveman. This edition of the 46 Game of the Week brought to you by Reliance, building homes from initial concept to full completion. We do it all. So a 5-4 Mishawaka lead as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Cavemen trying to stay perfect in Northern Lakes Conference play and trying to find some ways to add to the lead here against Addie Nisley, who has done a Houdini act in the second and the third, getting out of 2 bases loaded jams and only giving up 1 run each time.
Yeah, she's done a great job of really getting out of those jams. And speaking of Nisley, Aaron Nisley at EB Ford wants to give a shout out to Addison and all the Lady Raiders. When you're ready for your next car or truck or SUV, come see Aaron at EB Ford.
Serendipitous how that worked out. Baseball comes off the varsity field, so that's delaying us a little bit before Gianna Camacho steps into the batter's box. Camacho, member of the volleyball team at Mishawaka, said it was an interesting event that cemented her love for the game. We'll talk about it after the first pitch. Outside, ball 1. She was playing in a pitching machine league out at Chet Wagner Little League and got hit by the pitch. And she started crying, and her dad said, rub some dirt on it. So she did. And she said, after that, I just loved softball. Flies out to Urbanski here, and there's 1 away.
Sometimes it's those little things that get you excited about your most passionate thing.
It's like, well, I can survive getting hit by the ball. I can survive anything. Oh, Mr. Huppert, a full-service operation here at Mishawaka. He not only dresses the field, but brings up the water and everything else. Should take a look into that Caveman dugout. Pitch line by Taylor Kincaid into right field for a base hit. Kincaid gets her second base knock of the day. And it puts a runner on first with 1 away for Bryn Lewinsky, who doubled to center her last time up, and right now she's got the go-ahead run. Lewinsky staring down at Brian Miller as he goes through the signs at third. We mentioned earlier Felice Blasco showing horses in 4-H. Lewinsky involved in photography in 4-H as she takes that one outside for ball 1. The lights taking effect here at Petco Field. The pitch outside, throw down by Pratt, and back in time is Kincaid.
What a job they did here at Baker Park, really building these baseball and softball complex here for these young ladies and young men to come out here. And used to have an old baseball field here and softball over at Twin Branch for years and years.
That pitch misses low, 3-0, and they've added a soccer field to the complex here where the Caveman varsity teams play, and
tennis courts up front.
Tennis courts over by Burkett Road. So just a terrific complex that they've been able to put together here. 3-0 pitch, misses down low for ball 4. And the base on balls puts runners at first and second with only 1 out for Olivia Boltink. Boltink looking for her first hit of the day. The Cavemen have not wanted for base runners. They have stranded 7 in the first 3 innings. We'll see if they can cash in an opportunity here. That pitch is on the outside corner for a strike. It's 0-1. Boltink, a member of the Caveman volleyball team, has also done some landscape work for the city of Mishawaka. Favorite summer job of many a youth.
Many of Mishawaka youth have worked for the Parks Department for the city of Mishawaka. Great place to come and get your first job.
A ball and a strike, the count on Boltink with Michaela Banks waiting on deck. Widener guarding the bag at third. Blasco in a couple of steps at first. 1-1 is on the outside corner for a strike. It's 1-2. Knisley at times has really picked her spots.
Yeah, like that pitch there. I mean, how she throws to lefties is totally different with her ball spin, not just where she's located, the way the ball spins.
Yeah, that was a screwball there. Now she gets her under one, and Humbarger comes over to make the grab. So Bolting pops out to second. Runners at first and second with 2 away, and here's Banks, who drove in the go-ahead run just an inning ago. Michaela swinging the bat at a 385 clip coming in. A year ago, in a far different game between these two teams, Banks threw a complete game shutout, but here she lines out to the second baseman Humbarger, and the Cavemen strand 2 more on the bases. We played 4, 5-4 Mishawaka. Our Tony Letcher Health Market Student Athletes of the Week are next on 46.
Time now for our Student Athletes of the Week, presented by Tony Letcher of Health Markets. And we're joined now by Northridge senior catcher Tavia Bratt and Mishawaka senior center fielder Jaden Hanley. We'll start here with Tavia. Obviously, you are a multi-sport star for Northridge, whether it's here in softball or in swimming as well, but you also maintain a 3.95 GPA. How do you make it all happen?
I don't know. I wouldn't be able to do it with the help of my parents and all my friends all the time, keeping me up and keeping me active. It's just trying to balance school and sports at the same time. All
right, when we saw your student athlete form, something stood out big time. Cosmetology school and a certificate in welding is what you want to pursue after high school. How did we get these two combos together?
I wanted to do hair because I've always just loved doing it, and I love going to get my hair done. And I just love doing other people's, especially on the softball team. And welding is mostly because of my love of cars. I just love being around cars, and welding would especially help doing stuff around the area.
All right, who do you want to give shout-outs to for getting you to this point in your life?
Shout out to my mom and my dad and my friends Elizabeth and Braylee.
Sounds good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Jaden, obviously it's been a great year for you in multiple levels, whether it's been softball or basketball, and you also have above 4.0 GPA. How do you make it all work?
I've definitely been really good at just balancing schoolwork and playing sports. I mean, my parents have always been on me that if I want to do good stuff within the future, that it's going to have to come with my schoolwork first and be a student athlete.
Holy Cross College is your future. You're going to get a chance to play basketball there and major in exercise science. Why HCC, and how excited are you to get to play basketball, and then also why that major?
I'm very excited to go and play at Holy Cross. Tegan Schulteis was my babysitter and a coach growing up, so I'm definitely following in her footsteps in a sense. So she was a big impact when it came to this decision, and their coaching staff and teammates are just very, very welcoming, so it made it feel like home.
Well, why exercise science?
Hannah Hess here that works at Mishawaka has definitely shown how much being an athletic trainer is. So I don't know, and being in the sports field is just, I can't picture myself without being in sports.
Who do you want to give a shout out to?
My parents, my little brother for always being there and pushing me, and then my softball teammates and my basketball teammates and coaches.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Jaden Hanley, Tavia Bratt, our Student Athletes of the Week, presented by Tony Letcher of Health Markets. Back with more high school softball action right after this.
And this edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you in part by Basney Honda, your #1 Honda dealer for over 35 years. Chuck and Bo from the Martin Supermarket broadcast booth high above Petco Field. Great to be here in Mishawaka tonight for this huge NLC contest.
Yeah, and great press box. We're up here nice and dry and nice and big. A lot of room up here. Got the TV camera up here as well. But just what Mishawaka has done as a facility and really bringing this game together for us and being hospital host for us.
Well, big inning here for Northridge as Rachel Humbarger in the top of the order due up for the Raiders, and this is the part of the lineup that has done the damage for Ray Capel's team tonight. Humbarger singled, stole a base, and scored a run back in the third after bouncing to short to lead off the game. First pitch from Banks misses inside for ball one. Humbarger coming off a 4-hit effort against Concord last Friday, and then homered Monday against Wawasee, something that kind of surprised Ray Caples because Rachel not the biggest player out there. She will get bigger and stronger as she goes along, which bodes well for this Northridge team.
Yeah, I mean, with the youngsters that they have on this team, they're definitely going to get stronger and definitely put on a lot more muscle and bat speed as well.
Humbarger takes that one upstairs. It's 2-0. And Ray very excited about the 8th grade class that he has coming in next year. So he says in a couple of years, Northridge might be back to the kind of production that you're used to seeing from these Raider teams. Here's a ground ball up the middle. Handback is over behind. Short throws, and what a split by Kincaid to dig one out for the out. You can hang the star on that one.
Two great plays there. Great job at the plate as well, but just a great stretch by Kincaid. Getting out there. Yeah, she was definitely out. Yeah, foot was on the bag, never came off either.
Yeah, that's a big-time play by Kincaid and kind of shows the athleticism that she showed between the pipes when she was playing hockey this year for Adams. Here's Rylan Goodwin, and Goodwin takes one down low for ball one. Goodwin has a single, a double, and an RBI tonight. And a stolen base. Talk about going a la carte.
Yeah, 2 runs scored for her.
The speedy shortstop waits for the 1-0 from Banks, and here it is. Popped up behind short. Handback calling for it. Made the basket catch.
That wind must be playing havoc on that because she was going back like she was camped under it, and all of a sudden she had to come in towards the infield even more.
But now Banks perhaps, as you see that American flag blowing in the wind tonight, and Banks perhaps just 1 out away from getting through this minefield part of the Northridge order, but she's got to deal with Tavia Bratt here. Bratt has singled and then drove in a run with a sacrifice fly back in the third. Solid right-handed stick, and she takes that one inside. What an interview Anj did with her in that Tony Letcher Health Markets feature just a moment ago. Cosmetology and welding, that's the typical combination for most young ladies.
Oh, yeah. Great combination.
1-0 the count. Takes that one inside 2-0, but thought she explained herself very well. Bratt, just a tough competitor. We talked about her athletic accomplishments in her last at bat, the All-NLC team she's been on. Here's a ground ball to the right side. Kincaid's got it. What an inning for Michaela Banks. She goes 1, 2, 3 through the top of the order. 4.5 in the books. 5-4 Mishawaka 46. This edition of the 46 Game of the Week brought to you in part by the Warren Golf Course. Located at Notre Dame, it's the top collegiate course in the country. You look at Brian Miller over on the sidelines. Brian has been coaching for probably about 20 years, so I asked him before the game because he's been broadcasting just as long. Which is easier?
Probably broadcasting. My whole life's revolved around high school sports. When I was a student at Clay High School, I was involved in the athletic department and doing basketball stats for Tom Hess and working with the baseball program with Jim Reinbold. And out of graduation, bang, I'm in LaPorte, and then years in Elkhart as a broadcaster and seen many, many games. But you know what? There's something special about being in the dugout with these kids and have coached in softball for, 35 years or more. 26 at the high school level. I would have never guessed it when I started, but there's something special about both. But I think to answer your question, it's a lot harder coaching. Yeah.
By the way, I'm not arguing with you.
Oh, no.
Best of luck to you in the Caveman.
Hey, thanks.
So in honor of my man, Mr. Miller, let's turn the page to the bottom of the fifth, 5-4 Mishawaka. Caveman will have Lily Hamback lead off the bottom of the fifth. Hamback with a sacrifice punt and a base hit. Pops this one foul over our heads and out of play. It's 0-1. Hamback, a junior, had a big triple in Mishawaka's win over Warsaw. Addie Nisley in the circle, gets a fly ball out into right field. Zurich is there and makes the two-hand grab. There's one away.
Now up for Lady Caveman, leadoff hitter number 2, Lily
One
St.
down,
Clair.
you go up to the top of the order with Lily St. Clair. 2 for 3 tonight. And St. Clair, one of the better hitters in the Northern Lakes Conference as you take a look at this murderer's row with Tyra Markham leading the NLC at 615, but St. Clair, one of 5 batters batting above 500 as we began play tonight.
That's just a great accomplishment to get on over half the time you come to the plate and playing in the conference that they play in as well.
The 1-0. That one misses low. It's 2-0. Addie Nisley gave up 3 in the first, but she settled down and worked out of some big-time jams in the second, third, and fourth. Missed high with that pitch. And the count goes to 3-0.
Yeah, just the opportunities that Northridge has had here early in the game as well to put up some more runs and not able to.
Here's a ground ball up the middle. Goodwin dives and knocks it down, but with St. Clair's speed, she would have beat it out. And that's her third base knock of the night.
Center fielder number 4, Jaden Hanley.
Brings up Jaden Handley, who's been on base all 3 times tonight. And let's see if Brian Miller tries to jumpstart the offense here, testing the arm of that catcher, Tavia Bratt, by having St. Clair run.
Yeah, Hanley with a single, a walk, and a fielder's choice to third. See if she tries to move the runner. One extra run right here would be really nice for Brian Miller and the Cavemen.
Any insurance they can get, because you know Northridge has some bats in that lineup. 1-0 the count. The pitch. Ground ball to the shortstop, Goodwin. She'll go to second for 1. The relay to first not in time. Another fielder's choice for Handley. Good play by Goodwin there. Humbarger got over to cover the bag at second. You'll get another look at it courtesy of EB4. Just a little too much speed going down the line to turn 2, but a good idea by Humbarger.
Yeah, ball was in the hole just a little bit too much for him as well.
Leah Dawson with the ground ball. Humbarger has this one, throws to first, inning over. No runs, a hit, no errors, 1 left after 5 in the Princess City. It's 5-4 Caveman on 46. And this edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you in part by Crown Trophy. They're nationally known and locally owned.
Big shout out to Ivy Tech Community College of South Bend and Elkhart. They're better yet at Ivy Tech. These programs can be free or low cost depending on a student's chosen path. Start exploring Ivy Tech's high school opportunities to find one that's right for you. Find out more at facebook.com/IvyTechSBE.
Let's go downstairs for a Bills Heating sideline report. And Angelo DiCarlo, just curious how the field conditions have developed as this game has gone along.
Everything is calmed down. Let's say that. There's no raindrops. It's not as cold as it was earlier. And the bats have cooled down as well. So everything working out. But the field itself doesn't seem to be any problem right now, which is great.
And you're right over by that Northridge dugout right now. What's the attitude around there?
I think they're pretty excited right now. You know, they're in this one. They've had the bats early, but they've settled in defensively. I think that gives them that motivation, right? That excitement, because that's where they've struggled so far this year, is when they've been out on the field. So I think there's a little bit of a pep in their step right now.
And they got their home run hitter at the plate, Grace Urbanski, who went deeper last time up. The 1-0. And Urbanski takes inside. It's 2-0. Urbanski, who has interest in photography and graphic design. They can make all kinds of graphics about her accomplishments this season on the softball diamond. Fouls one back, and it's 2-1. Four-hit game against Concord last Friday, including a home run. Then she had 2 homers against Warsaw on Wednesday. So she is on a hot streak right now. 6 homers for the season. And the 2-1 hit foul as Banks fooled her with a changeup that time. It's 2-2. What do you see in Urbanski's swing that you like?
I was just going to comment on that. I really like her poise that she has up there, and just she's real confident in her swing. She doesn't let the ball get too deep on her, and she doesn't get out on her front foot.
Takes a pitch inside, and the count goes full.
You don't see that in a lot of hitters. They get 2 strikes on them. They start to get nervous a little bit. They start to get out on their front foot. They start to try to reach for stuff. She looks like she's very confident, and she lets that ball get to her barrel.
If I'm Banks, I'm not giving her anything outside after the way she hit that homer. But the catcher's set up out there, and Urbanski had a mighty rip and fouled it back. It's still full at 3-2.
Another foul ball from the baseball field on the field.
Urbanski with 6 homers and 17 runs batted in this season. We mentioned the fact her grandmother Patty battling cancer, but doing really well from what we understand in her chemotherapy. Here's the 3-2. Hit foul and out of play as the softball players try to get revenge against the baseball players for all those foul balls. Still 3-2 on Urbanski. You look at the smiling face of Gianna Camacho behind the plate. She just loves to play this game. Cleans off that plate for the home plate umpire before every half inning. Payoff pitch missed high. A good at bat for Urbanski as she draws a leadoff walk here in the 6th.
Your hometown pharmacy in Mishawaka is the best place to go for your pharmaceutical needs. Call to schedule your hormone replacement therapy today. Hometown is proud to support the Mishawaka and Northridge softball teams in tonight's telecast.
Nisley ripped a single to center her last time up after striking out in the 1st. And Banks nearly hit her with the pitch. It's ball 1. Banks' control normally pinpoint, but she's walked a couple of hitters tonight. And Northridge trying to make her pay right here. The 1-0. Lined into left center field. That's a base hit. Handley did a good job as that ball took a hop. Now Urbanski tries to go to third, and she is out. Another base running miscue for Northridge.
You never make the first or third out at third base. They always talk about that. I know you want to be aggressive, but you're down by 1. Ball got down and just bobbled a little bit, but didn't get too far away.
And Handley has the best arm on this Mishawaka team in the outfield by far. And she has shown it a couple of times tonight. That is the 4th base runner that Northridge has had tossed out on the bases tonight. Now a courtesy runner will come in for Nisley at first.
Martin Supermarket's Groceries to Go annual subscriptions are now available. They're just $29.99 for the year. Get ad pricing, digital coupon, recipes directly from your account. Learn more at martinsgroceriestogo.com.
Last time they used Kyla Kaufman. We can't tell who it is right now because they have a sweatshirt on.
That does not look like Kaufman.
No, I don't think it is. Oh, Bell is the pinch runner. Jasmine Bell, number 13. As we have a high pop-up foul behind home plate. And that'll land on the net to keep the fans safe. And some folks will have fun with the umbrellas trying to poke that one down. Felice Blasco doubled back in the second and is 1 for 2 tonight. 0-1 the count. The pitch hit high in the air out towards right field. Mason is under it. The call on the catch, and there's 2 away.
Now up for the Raiders, third baseman.
Here's Chloe Widener, the third baseman. Widener 0 for 2 tonight, has pulled the ball to the third baseman both times. And now they have the little tool out to get that softball out from the net over in the bleachers. As Banks throws the first pitch to Widener inside for ball 1. This is quite the adventure getting that ball down, but I think they finally did.
Yeah, they got a little circle and they knock it into the hoop in the center. Was trying to get it over and kept getting away from him.
1-0 pitch. Fouled out of play on the first base side, and the count evens at 1-1. Mishawaka scored 3 in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third. Northridge with 1 in the first, 3 in the third, so it's 5-4 Cavemen here in the 6th. Tying run at first with 2 away. Widener takes that one down low. It's 2-1. Raiders would love to get some production here, but what they'd really love to do is have that top of the order coming up in the 7th, where they can do some damage. Here's the 2-1 from Banks. Widener takes a strike, and it's 2-2. A lot of room up the middle if Widener can go that way. Caveman playing her to pull, as she has done most of the night. Adele Zurich waits on deck. Bell, the runner at first, and the 2-2. Ground ball to the shortstop, hand back. She throws to first, and the inning's over. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. 5.5 complete. 5-4 Mishawaka on 46. And this edition of the 46th Game of the Week being brought to you in part by the Indiana High School Athletic Association, partnering with TV 46 for over 30 years. Ryan Miller having a little team meeting with his Mishawaka team, talking about the patience they need to have and what they need to accomplish offensively here in the bottom of the 6th.
And I think one of those goals is to put up another run this inning. Put up another run in the bottom of the 6th, go to the top, then you have a little bit of leeway to give up that 1 run as well. EB Ford in Goshen is proud to support the Raiders athletics. EB Ford has been serving the community for over 100 years. When you're ready to buy or sell, visit ebford.com. It's EB easy, that's EB.
Middle third of the order for the Cavemen, due up against Addie Nisley here, who has really acquitted herself well on the mound tonight. 5-4 game, and Gianna Camacho, the catcher, will lead things off for Mishawaka. Camacho, who gets sportsmanship awards handed out almost all the time to her for her attitude behind the plate. Just loves playing this game. And she is signed to play at Wisconsin Green Bay next season. Nisley's first pitch is lined down the right field line, but it slices foul, 0-1. You know the nickname for the Wisconsin Green Bay teams?
The Wisconsin Green Bay Elephants.
They are the Phoenix.
Phoenix.
They are the Phoenix who rise from the ashes, much like you need to do after that answer.
Yeah.
No balls and 1 strike on Camacho. Nisley checks the wristband after getting the signs from Tavia Bratt. And that one misses high, 1-1. Did you have players wearing wristbands on the mound or behind the plate when you coached?
No, yeah. That's one of those debated things in softball and baseball with the wristbands and the calling of the numbers and whether you're old school giving the signs or if you want to call the numbers. And either way, I mean, you see some colleges doing it, some colleges don't do it. You don't see it in the pros as much. What you do see is the scouting reports a lot in the hats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, so you'll see a lot more of that.
You have less of a problem with that, I take it.
I do, yeah, because now you're looking at stuff that you know, I say it all the time. When I was coaching the regional championship game, my steal to third base sign was my finger pointing and telling the kid to go. I mean, that's how simple we made it, you know. It wasn't too hard and made everything simple.
Did he run?
Oh, yeah.
He didn't miss the sign.
We were 3 for 4 on stolen bases, and they all got it every time, you know. Bunts, I went like that. I just put my hands out, bunt, you know, made it nice and simple.
The 3-2 misses outside, and it's a leadoff walk for Camacho to begin the 6th. So here's Taylor Kincaid, the first baseman. And we'll have a courtesy runner for Camacho as Kincaid steps in. Kincaid is 2 out of 3 tonight. Pair of singles sandwiching around a ground out to first. Taylor, cousin of the Zakay twins over at St. Joe, hits a high fly ball to center field. Urbanski backing up. It's over her head and off the wall. But it'll be a long single because Urbanski was able to make the runner at first think she might be able to catch it.
Yeah, Coach Miller talking to her right now that she needs to be halfway on that play. She can't be sitting at first base waiting to tag. Great job by Kincaid just driving that ball to the fence. A couple more feet, and that was a 2-run shot.
Kincaid just a biscuit for breakfast short on that one. She had a home run on Monday night against Concord. Runners at first and second, still nobody out. And here's Lewinsky, who takes down low. Some base running execution, some defensive execution. The difference in this one for Northridge right now. And Mishawaka trying to make them pay here in the bottom of the 6th. That pitch bounces in. Nice stop by the catcher, Bratt. And the count 2-0. Two balls, no strikes. Lewinsky gets the sign from head coach Brian Miller at third. The bunt goes foul, and it's 2-1.
Again, one of those situations where you're looking to sacrifice bunt. I always tell the kids, when you're sacrifice bunting, do not leave that box until you see that ball down. That eliminates the thought of trying to bunt and run and trying to get it for a hit. You're not up there. You're there to sacrifice for your team. Get that bunt down. Don't leave that box until it's down.
Here's the 2-1. She pulls the bat back. It's 3-1. Olivia Boltink waits on deck. Nisley worked out of bases loaded jams in the 2nd and 3rd. Left 2 on in the 4th. And now Mishawaka with the first 2 runners aboard here in the 6th. And that pitch misses low for ball 4. So a big walk there by Lewinsky. Loads the bases with nobody out for Olivia Boltink. And we'll have a conference at the mound for the Raiders, as the pitching coach will come out to have a word.
Looks like we might have a pinch hitter for Mishawaka, Sophia Hoover. Stretching out a little bit, taking some swings.
Brian Miller coming up to chat with home plate umpire Woody Collar. And indeed, it will be Hoover batting for Boltink here in the 6th. Hoover batting .267 on the year with no homers and 5 RBI. A very talented hockey player. She plays for Team Indiana, had a key RBI in the win over Plymouth, and time is called. And Woody Collar going to go over and have a quick conversation with Ray Caples.
Yeah, looked like it was the substitution change.
Ray kept yelling, "Who is it? Who is it?" And it's Sophia Hoover at the plate. Hoover had 2 hits in 1 inning Wednesday against Northwood. She takes high and away there for ball 1. Interesting that Lewinsky took a big jump off first base that time, maybe trying to bait a throw from Bratt.
Sometimes you play those games where you're trying to bait a throw to get another runner moved and then advancing.
The 1-0 outside and high. It's 2-0. Nicely struggling with her control here in the 6th. She's had to throw a lot of pitches here tonight. The 2-0 to Hoover. Missed down low, and it's 3-0.
Ooh, that's one of those pitches you might want to frame a little bit right there on the border. Really needed that pitch, and she's struggling to find the zone. 2 walks already in this inning.
Big chance for insurance here for the Cavemen. Missed high and outside, ball 4, and she walked in a run. So the Cavemen up the ante to 6-4 on the bases loaded walk by Hoover, her 6th run batted in this season. And it brings up Michaela Banks, who lined out to the second baseman Humbarger to end the 4th. Banks had an RBI single back in the 3rd. That was the go-ahead run. Throw down to first, and did they get her? Yes. Hoover strayed too far, and Bratt showed off the arm, picking off the runner at first. We'll get another look from the EB Ford instant replay.
Yeah, that's one of those things. You know you got an aggressive catcher behind the plate, and you cannot get picked off of first base in that situation. Nobody out.
Now a fly ball deep to right field, and it's going to get in there for extra bases. 2 runs will score. Banks is headed to 3rd. She has a triple. It's 8-4 Mishawaka. 3 RBI on the night for Michaela Banks. And you'll get another look from EB Ford as Banks lofted one deep to right, and Zurich could not get to it. Nice piece of hitting there. Another courtesy runner will come in as Grace Matherly will run at 3rd base for Banks. And Lily Hamback gets ready to get in the box.
Banks with just a great job. 3 RBIs on the night. Great job of really controlling the game with this Northridge squad. There's a lot of bats in that lineup.
Well, and if you're Northridge, you also wonder how many innings did you run yourself out of tonight?
Oh, you definitely, for sure.
Not to mention the defensive woes that led to a couple of Mishawaka runs as well. Line drive right at the shortstop, good one. Hamback is retired. 2 away in the inning, and it'll bring up Lily St. Clair, the DH, who's 3 for 4 tonight. St. Clair from a family where Dad's been a long-time baseball coach, including a stint at Valparaiso University. So she comes about her love for the diamond purely. Pop-up, collision, who caught it? Widener, the 3rd baseman, did. And the inning is over, but the Cavemen tack on 3 big runs. Will go to the 7th. Mishawaka trying to stay unbeaten in the NLC. They lead at 8-4 over Northridge on 46. And this edition of the 46 Game of the Week brought to you in part by HealthLink, your community health center. A reminder, the IHSA tournament pairings are drawn this Sunday for both the softball and the baseball tournaments. You can watch them on the IHSATV.org website. Softball drawn at 7, baseball at 8. Many interested viewers.
A lot of interested viewers in the area. A little bit different having the softball and the baseball drawn on the same day. And usually it's drawn very late in the season, right before you don't have a lot of time to prepare. Now you have a little scouting you can do.
Adele Zurich, the right fielder, leads off the 7th for Northridge. 8-9-1 in the order. Michaela Banks missing upstairs for ball 1. Mishawaka baseball team stays unbeaten in the Northern Lakes Conference with a 1-0 win over Northridge right next door here at Baker Park, Freddie Fitzsimmons Field. Swing and a miss by Zurich, and the count goes to 1-1. For Northridge, it's almost imperative that one of these first two get on base so that they can get that top of the order churning. That's where the damage has been done tonight. Zurich with a ground ball. Handback has been flawless at short and stays that way. Lily Handback has done a wonderful job at shortstop tonight defensively.
I have her as 5 assists on the night.
She fields the ball a little bit differently.
She gets her feet in front of her. She fields it on her back foot a little bit, and I think that has a lot to do with the wet ground a little bit. So she's trying to come through. The ball's not getting on her like you're normally used to. And you got to remember, a lot of these girls and the boys right behind us play on turf during the summer. Most of the tournaments we go to for travel ball and stuff is on turf, so that ball gets on you a little bit quicker, whereas the dirt and even being wet, it's a little bit slower.
Mia Branham, the batter. She heads one into left center field. The left fielder, Lewinsky, goes over to make the catch. 2 away, and the Cavemen are 1 out away from their 6th NLC victory and their 7th in a row. But here's Rachel Humbarger, the second baseman. Humbarger 1 for 3. She singled, stole a base, and scored back in the 3rd. The other 2 times she's grounded out to Handback. Outfield plays her straight away. The pitch. Swing and a foul tip into the mid of Camacho, and it's 0-1. Mishawaka started the year 1-4, but man, are they hot right now. Right down Main Street, and it's 0-2. The Raiders are down to their last strike. The freshman Humbarger working against Banks. The 0-2. Swinging a tap back to the mound. Banks has it, throws to first, and the Cavemen are winners. 8-4 the final. Mishawaka over Northridge. The Cavemen staying undefeated in NLC play, going to 6-0 and winning their 7th in a row. We're back with our player of the game and our post-game show after this on the 46 Game of the Week.
Thanks for watching the WHME TV 46 High School Game of the Week, brought to you by
the Mishawaka Cavemen celebrating after they prevail over their Northern Lakes Conference rival Northridge by a count of 8-4 and maintain possession of the lead in the Northern Lakes Conference. Welcome inside the Martin Supermarket broadcast booth. Chuck Freeby, Bo Hunt with you. And partner, a little bit different game than we saw in our first softball game this year when the pitching dominated. Tonight it was the bats, at least early.
Yeah, Northridge came out, got on the board early, got the first run, but I think the big inning that happened for this game was Mishawaka coming right back right away, putting 3 back on them in the bottom of the first inning, going up 3-1, and that kind of took a little air out of Northridge.
So what had to happen? Well, people had to settle down. And the person who settled down in the most, I think, in this game was the Mishawaka pitcher, Michaela Banks. Worked through a 1-2-3 fifth against the top of that order, then a big 2-run triple in the 6th, and that's why she is talking with Angelo DiCarlo.
Here at the player of the game, and Michaela, I bet after 3 innings you maybe thought you would not be the player of the game. Things got a lot better after that, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I was a little nervous in the first 3 innings. Got to battle back, though.
How does helping yourself at the plate help you on the mound in the circle?
Well, at the, hitting?
Yeah, well, you helped yourself out with 3 RBI here tonight. How does that help you? Does that help you mentally when you go back into the circle?
Hitting, it gives me more of a positive attitude, being able to hit, because usually I don't get many at-bats. So, getting out there is, really important.
All right, what changed that allowed you to settle in then in the circle to get the victory?
I just had to set my mind to throwing my game and being the best I can up at the plate.
You guys have been undefeated in NLC play all season. You stay that way. How important was this victory for you guys?
Oh, it's pretty important. Knowing that Northridge has been like an all-time champ of the NLC, winning this game feels great all the time.
And then finally, you guys did a lot of work before the game just to get this field ready. How satisfying is it to get the benefits of that with a victory here tonight?
Feels great. Cleaning off the field, making a win off of it. Can't get better than that, I guess.
All right, Michaela, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
That's our player of the game. Chuck and Bo, back to you.
You may remember there was a one-way conversation between Brian Miller and Michaela Banks when she came off the field after giving up 3 in the third inning, and she didn't give up any runs after that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was a great talk that Coach Miller had with her, very positive talking to her. And, well, she admitted right there she doesn't get a lot of at bats. She probably has somebody pinch hitting for her or DHing for her. But what she did tonight at the plate was more impressive than what she did on the field as well.
Absolutely, and now Brian Miller thinks he's Newt Rockney with his pep talks they gave. And for Northridge, I mean, you can see talent is there, and the future is bright for Ray Gables.
Yeah, they talked about the pitching that they've lost, and that's their area they need to work on. But there's other areas as well. Some of their fielding was just a little out of sync, and their base running you talked about was as well. But they can swing it for sure.
They can indeed. So great to be here at Mishawaka tonight. Thank you to Dean Huppert, the athletic director, and the staff for getting the field ready. Thank you to Dean Korsmo, our production manager, and our talented 46 crew who did another great job of bringing you high school sports. A reminder, there is soccer Saturday night on TV 46 as the Indy 11 take on the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. We'll have that one for you live at 7. And then next Friday night, it's high school baseball. The two leaders in the Northern Indiana Conference go head-to-head as the Marion Knights visit the defending state champion Penn Kingsman. We'll bring it to you Friday night 11 and Saturday morning at 9. Don't forget to follow us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Now for the Hall of Famer Bo Hunt and Angelo DiCarlo, it's Chuck Freebie. Once again, the final, Mishawaka 8, Northridge 4. So long from the Princess City.